Superior quality drink mix at an affordable price. Rasna Drink Mix. With over 5 delicious flavors to choose from, a 25-gram pack makes up to 1 liter of drink. There is no need to add sugar. Unlike other drink mixes, Rasna is made with all natural flavors and is low in sugar. It also contains 5 essential daily vitamins and minerals. Rasna Drink Mix is available nationwide. For more information, call us on 233-2473. Rasna, endorsed by celebrities.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello and welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio that comes to you with the compliments of Rasna Drink Mix. I am Kevin Smith. Before we get to the news in detail, let's get to today's front page comment of the Kaieteur News. The prodigal son has returned. Former Natural Resources Minister Robert Prasad is back. The PPP's prodigal son has returned and has been gifted the specially created position of Foreign Secretary. The nation must ask, why was it necessary for Prasad to be placed as Foreign Secretary? Guyana now knows that Prasad, the former Minister of Natural Resources, was a key player, decision maker, and playmaker in the giveaway of the rich Kanji and Kaieteur oil blocks. Citizens are still awaiting answers on the process used, the owners selected, and the reasons for the free giveaways of the 2 blocks. What started in secrecy and mystery must now be completed. The post of Foreign Secretary provides Prasad with the role of international gatekeeper for agreements between Guyana and other countries in the world, including investment protection and trade. If Prasad's role in the giveaway of the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks is a gauge of what is to come, then all Guyanese should be worried as to the intersection of the responsibilities of Foreign Secretary with agreements which can further insulate and isolate the oil agreements from being renegotiated to Guyana's benefit. And now for the top stories we are tracking. The fleecing of Guyana's series. Kanji owners will pay no taxes. Contract signed by Ramotar. The $150 million and counting CJIA renovation, Chinese contractor yet to submit revised work plan, was given 5-day deadline since August. Man with toy gun storms Chief Justice's premises. An ex-cop who used the uniform to rob teen remanded. Meanwhile, additional fraud charge for Walter Lawrence, while Carol Smith Joseph makes first court appearance. Stay tuned to stay informed.
If something doesn't look right, then there is something wrong. And if you suspect child abuse, then you must report it to the Child Care and Protection Agency. During this time more than ever, we have to be the eyes and ears of abused children across the country. So if you see it, or you know it, or even if you just think it's child abuse, then you must report it to the police or call the CPA hotline on 227-0979.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
And now for the news in detail. When former President and Minister of Petroleum Donald Ramotar awarded the Kanji license on March 4, 2015 to Mid-Atlantic Oil and Gas Incorporated, he granted the company an effective waiver of all taxes, duties, and other charges derived from petroleum operations. The Kanji contract states in Article 15 that no tax, value-added tax, excise tax, duty, fee, charge, or other impost shall be levied on the contractor or affiliated companies in respect of income derived from petroleum operations or in respect of any property held, transactions undertaken, or activities performed for any proposed, authorized, or contemplated hereunder. The provision goes on to list a few exceptions to this stipulation, including a few taxes, charges, and fees. However, the contract later notes that any and all rentals, taxes, levies, charges, fees, contributions, and any other assessments and charges levied by the government in connection with the petroleum operations and paid directly by the contractor are cost recoverable, meaning Guyana has to repay every cent. In other news, Chinese contractor China Harbor Engineering Company continues to display blatant disrespect to the governing administration. The company has not yet submitted the revised work plan for the Chedijagan International Airport, $150 million and counting renovation project, after being given a 5-day deadline back in August. That deadline was granted by the Ministry of Public Works since August 28 after a visit by President Irfan Ali. However, when asked yesterday if the contractor met the deadline, Public Works Minister Juan Edgel answered in the negative. And moving on, Guyana's law enforcement agencies were placed on high alert yesterday after a man brandishing what appeared to be a toy gun stormed the residence of Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire and confronted 2 police ranks stationed there. The acting Chief Justice is slated to start the case management procedures into the March 2020 election petition filed by the main parliamentary opposition today at the High Court. Police, in a release, detailed that around 2 p.m. the 2 officers were on duty when one left to use the washroom facility, and the other was pounced on by the suspect. It was reported that the Chief Justice's neighbor is host to an abundance of CCTV cameras. However, it is unclear whether footage detailing the incident was obtained. In other news, the ex-cop who, with uniform, had robbed pedal cyclist 19-year-old Damendra Yusuf on October 13th at the Kendrin, West Coast Demerara, has been remanded, along with 2 of his accomplices. Former police constable 25-year-old Joel Semple of Samata Point, East Bank, Demerara, appeared at the Lenora Magistrates Court on October 15th. Also appearing alongside Semple were his accomplices 25-year-old Christian Daniels and 23-year-old Antonio Albert Paul. The men pleaded not guilty to the offense and are currently behind bars awaiting their next court appearance on November 30th, 2020. Let's tell you now that as the intense probe continues into the allegations of electoral fraud committed during the last elections, PNC chairperson and former Minister of Public Health Valda Lawrence was yesterday slapped with an additional electoral fraud charge. Also, a PNU AFC activist, Carol Smith-Joseph, made her first court appearance. In the company of their attorney, Nigel Hughes, both defendants yesterday appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. They were not required to plead to the indictable charges that were read to them. Lawrence was slapped with a forgery charge while 3 charges were read to Joseph, 1 count of forgery and 2 counts of conspiring with the returning officer of Region 4, Claremont Mingo, to defraud. The prosecutor made no objection to bail being granted to the defendants, and the magistrate granted bail in a sum of $50,000 on each charge. The matter was then adjourned to Wednesday, October 28, 2020, before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. And this is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, 3 murder suspects escaped from Lusignan prison. Labor Minister issues warning to unscrupulous security firms over treatment of workers. Thief trapped inside house and surrenders to police with hands in the air. And Haslington murder accused changes plea to guilty for killing brother-in-law. Do stay tuned.
Some things in life are better together, like pepper pots and bread, like listening to oldies with your granny on weekends, like mashramani and costumes, like secret texts between best friends, like a road trip, and playing songs on loud.
At Digicel, we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The best and widest variety of music, podcasts and local radio, cloud storage, messaging, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel. Digicel, better together.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. 3 murder suspects escaped from the Lusignan prison between 17 hours 30 on Tuesday, October 20th, 2020, and 6 hours on Wednesday, October 21st. According to a police report, the escapees are 25-year-old Mark Ruffino of Perica Facade, East Bank, Essequibo, 20-year-old Alex Matthias of Good Hope Dockyard, Essequibo Coast, and 19-year-old Arnold Bruce Kennedy of 847 Zeeburg Housing Scheme, West Coast, Demerara. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of the 3 murder accused is asked to contact the nearest police station or 225-6411. That number again is 225-6411. All information will be treated with the strictest of confidentiality. And moving on, the Ministry of Labor has issued a warning to unscrupulous security firms across the country over the treatment of their employees. The warning follows numerous complaints filed at the Labor Ministry by staffers of several known security firms. According to a disseminated statement yesterday, the ministry has moved to publicly condemn the actions of employers who have contravened sections of Guyana's labor laws. In an attempt to fulfill its mandate of protection of the rights of workers, the ministry noted that steps will be taken to prosecute offenders to the full extent of the law upon the receipt of formal complaints. In other news, a thief was yesterday forced to surrender to police with his hands in the air after he was trapped by residents inside the bottom flat of a 2-story house located at Bushy Park, Parika. According to information, the residents trapped the man at around 7 hours 30. We were told that the thief reportedly entered the building just after its occupant, a taxi driver, locked his door and left. However, one of the residents said it seems as though the thief was totally unaware that the tenant occupying the top floor was still at home. The men contacted police and called other neighbors to surround the house. Realizing that he was surrounded, the resident said the thief resorted to barricading himself inside the house by shutting it tight. Nevertheless, the residents did not leave but waited until ranks arrived. Let's tell you now that late Charles Critchlow, the Haslington man who was found facing a high court trial for the murder of his brother-in-law, has opted to plead guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. Critchlow, who had previously pleaded not guilty to the charge of murder, changed his plea during a hearing of the case before Justice Priya Sunarayan Bihari and a 12-mixed-member jury at the Georgetown High Court yesterday. Critchlow's decision to plead guilty comes after several witnesses have testified in the trial. He was, however, not sentenced as the court deferred its judgment to November 24, 2020 to facilitate a probation report. 65-year-old Critchlow of Haslington, East Coast, Demerara is currently incarcerated at the Lusignan prisons. In other news, the Ministry of Education is considering having grades 10 and 11 students return to school since they are in dire need of time in the classroom to complete their SBAs. This is according to a press release by the ministry. Schools have been closed from physical classes since early March this year due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and over the course of months, both teachers and students have raised concerns over efficiently completing SBAs virtually. Additionally, partial physical classes have been under review since the month of August, but due to concerns of parents and other educational stakeholders, the ministry sought to use online schooling for this part of the school year. It is now 12 hours 16. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases has reached 41,657,562, with 1,138,752 dead. Recovery cases has reached 31,016,573. The deaths of 3 elderly males from Region 1 have pushed Guyana's COVID-19 death toll to 117. The latest fatalities include a 68-year-old, a 70-year-old, and an 80-year-old male from Region 1. Additionally, the Ministry of Health released a dashboard which pointed to a discovery of 54 new cases of the disease. The ministry has noted that if anyone is displaying any symptoms associated with COVID-19 or need any additional information, they should contact the COVID-19 hotlines on 231-1166, 226-7480, or 624-6674 immediately. And coming from CNN, doctors say this fall and winter will likely see the virus' worst surge yet in the U.S., which recorded its highest daily death toll in more than a month Wednesday. As infections soar in Europe, new restrictions to curb the virus's spread there include the continent's strictest lockdown in Ireland and an overnight curfew for Rome. Meanwhile, Spain surpassed 1 million cases on Wednesday. The same day, both Germany and the UK reported a record increase in infections. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. Remember, the news came to you with the compliments of Rasana Drink Mix. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch